Wine, one of the oldest beverages produced by mankind. And Gozo, a smaller island in the Maltese archipelago, home of beautiful beaches and agricultural landscapes. Among them, a tiny and unique vineyard. The wind is strong here, but the leaves withstand it well, giving the grapes the required energy to grow. But wait, what are they doing? Picking leaves before grapes are fully grown? What is this for? And they cut off the grapes too? Isn't it a waste? To the contrary. It's called trimming. The less developed grapes are cut off to allow the remaining ones to grow stronger. And what happens to the cut ones? Let's speak about it later. It's a long process before the vineyard can harvest grapes. First, we need to place the foundation poles which support the growing vines. The poles will be equipped with parallel wires, holding the stems in place. As well as the irrigation lines. Water is precious here, but necessary for the vines. The poles are covered with plastic bottles that help to spread netting against birds attacking the vineyard, which happens from time to time. Everything here is done by the winemaker himself. Why?
Well, our idea, our philosophy, let's say that, is that 80% of the work behind every bottle of wine is done in the vineyard and 20% in the winery. By that we mean that we put a lot of emphasis in producing very high quality grapes.
High quality grapes on a hot and windy island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea? How is it possible? And what is required to achieve this?
A good winemaker doesn't spend time working in the winery, but he spends most of his time in the vineyard. He fertilizes the soil with his footsteps and irrigates the vine with his sweat. Of course, that means that a lot of time is spent here.
Considering the limitations, this vineyard shouldn't work at all. Strong winds, rocky soil, and scorching sun. However, with proper measures and determination, outstanding wine can still be made. Gozo, or Audesh as the locals call it, is the sister island to Malta, with the island of Comino in between. Everything is a little bit different here. It's more green and more relaxed. Historically, it enjoys its own story, going way back to a time of pirates, slavery, and reoccupation. Perhaps the love of independence made Gozotans so proud of their island. Meanwhile, at the vineyard, grapes are checked for their maturity with a refractometer. This tool uses optical effects of refraction to measure the sugar levels. When the desired level is reached, it's time to harvest. This is the last moment for quality control. Grapes must be harvested in the morning before the hot sun makes conditions unbearable. All family hands are called for that day. Boxes are being filled with matured Sangiovese grapes. Every box is a cool 24 kilograms each. By noon, all the fruits must be ready to be brought to the winery. Almost 1.5 tons of grapes have been harvested today. This time, they'll be used to make rosé wine. They have to be loaded onto the truck. Family helps a lot. Everything is done by hand. It's noon, the truck can make its way to the winery. This traditional Gozo house is where the grapes will be transformed into wine. To make rosé wine the traditional way, the grapes must be processed as follows. In this machine, the destemming and crushing takes place. Crushed grapes are fed into the press by this pipe. Fresh juice is now enriched with pectolase enzymes to achieve clarity and reduce sedimentation. Then the juice is piped into the tank in the basement. The grapes are neither treated nor washed before they go into the wine press. Nothing goes to waste. The separated stems will also be recycled.
This will act as a filter zone. That's why we're putting the stem, so that when the pressure starts building up, the juice which is on top will have a leeway where to go out.
The juice floating in the tub is still not pressed in any way. It flows under its own weight. First, after filling the tank, the winemaker prepares the press. The best materials are the natural ones. And manual power is still in use. One simple pressure meter is the only helping tool, allowing the winemaker to control the pressing force. The pressure has direct impact on tannin concentration. Pressing also helps to achieve lower acidity. Every filling is around 500 kilograms of crushed grapes. Slightly pinkish juice is pressed out and goes to temperature-controlled tanks. For around 1.5 tons of fruit, the pressing must be repeated 3 times. Around 1,000 bottles of rosé wine will be produced from this lot. Every drop counts. After every pressing, the tank has to be dismantled and cleaned. Nothing will be disposed of. Remaining pumice will be given to farm sheep as nutritious organic food. There are many other ideas to utilize the pressing leftovers. They can be used to make brandies, like grappa, or to be pressed for grapeseed oil. Anyway, nothing gets wasted in organic agriculture. After the last drops of pressed juice have filled the tank, it's time to check its properties. And just what makes rosé winemaking different from red or white.
Rosé wines are, let's say, a curious kind of wines, because they are in between a white and a red. So they are made from red grapes, but they are processed the same as a white wine. So you see, when you have a red wine, you crush the grapes and you put the skins in with the juice and you ferment that. With a rosé, you crush the grapes, or you simply press them, take away the juice, and you only ferment the juice. So you start with a juice which is very light in color, and of course then it turns rosé. Most of the color comes from the skin. So the limited skin contact with the grapes, during the pressing time, is enough to give the wine a small taint of a pinkish taint, and then that's it.
First check to estimate the wine's potential. For this purpose, a number of lab tests have to be carried out. Every result must be recorded to monitor the process.
Right now, we will be testing the sugar density. This is a hydrometer. It will give us an average calculation of the potential alcohol of the wine. That would mean the amount of sugar which is present in the juice. Apart from that, I am also tested the pH of the wine to see the strength of the acid. Of course, the 2 readings are very important, because now the wine will rest for 24 hours. The juice will rest for 24 hours. It will be cooled down, And then next day, after 24 hours, we will decant the juice from the sediment because there will be a lot of sediment. And then fermentation can start.
Wines from Talmassar Winery have been internationally awarded for their impressive storage potential of between 20 to 25 years. After stabilization in tanks, the winemaker has to carry out lots of tests, like checking sugar, acidity, sulfur, and alcohol percentage. These tests have to be performed throughout the winemaking process, up to the moment of bottling. Even a small enterprise like this can achieve excellent results when the winemaker knows exactly what has to be done. The wine is given time to mature before it is finally bottled later in December. The winds on Gozo will be stronger, but the island will also be greener, since winter in the Maltese archipelago means more humidity and milder temperatures, which help nature to recover after a long hot summer and bloom again. And one day, the bottles can be opened and the wine can be tasted.
Every wine tells a story which starts in January, and 9 months afterwards, in September, the wine is conceived. It's like a human baby. So, give it some air first, and then try to get the flavors, the aromas on the nose. Now, on the mouth, the wine will taste very different than from the taste.
Wine tasting is an integral part of the winemaker's activity. Anthony likes to teach people how to get the most out of their wine.
Here it goes.
Here's how to enjoy the delicate elements that make a truly good wine and how to evaluate the quality.
When you see the legs, it is a sign that the wine is a very high quality wine.
Wow.
Especially when the legs fall down very slowly. Notice.
And which food best complements the wine? Gozo cheese, called jbena, sun-dried tomato paste, or olives, and galletti crackers. Such wine tasting sessions bring a lot of fun and new knowledge, helping to understand the true sense of taste. The wines of Talmassar are very unique as the approach of its owners. Nullum secundum, never the second, is their motto. We are now going to bid farewell to Gozo, a relaxed island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, where good taste and beautiful scenery meet at one place, where wines are produced and where all these unique qualities are brought together.